This video is about Thor Fights giant until hammer breaks. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the land of Asgard, where the skies were painted with the hues of dawn and the air crackled with the energy of the gods, a foreboding silence settled over the realm. The golden halls of Valhalla echoed with tales of valor, but a shadow loomed on the horizon, one that threatened to plunge the world into chaos. Thor, the god of thunder, stood at the edge of Bifrost, gazing into the swirling mists below. A sense of dread gnawed at him. Whispers reached his ears, rumors of a giant, a monstrous behemoth named Jotunheim, awakening from its slumber, hungry for revenge against the gods who had once imprisoned it. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting long shadows over the mountains, the air grew heavy with anticipation. The warriors of Asgard gathered, their hearts pounding like war drums, waiting for the call to arms. Thor's mighty hammer, Mjolnir, hung at his side, a talisman of his power and a symbol of hope for the realm. "We must not allow the Jotun to breach our borders," Odin, the All-Father, proclaimed, his voice resonating with authority. His one eye glimmered with wisdom and foresight. "Gather your strength, my sons and daughters. Prepare for battle." As warriors donned their armor, a chill swept through the gathering. Freyja, the goddess of love and war, approached Thor, her eyes shimmering with a blend of courage and concern. "Thor, my heart trembles at the thought of this giant. It has defeated gods before. You must be wary." "I am always wary, Freyja," Thor responded, his voice deep and steady. "But I will not cower in fear. If this giant seeks to claim our realm, it will face the full force of my hammer." With a mighty roar, Thor summoned the storms that lay within him. Lightning crackled at his fingertips, illuminating the gathering as he raised Mjolnir high. The thunder rolled, a clarion call echoing through the heavens. "To battle, my brothers and sisters. We shall not falter." Under the blood-red sky, the gods rode forth on their steeds, their hearts aflame with fury and bravery. The wind howled as they journeyed across the vast plains, and the earth trembled beneath their hooves. Yet, doubt lingered in Thor's heart. The tales of Jotunheim's wrath resonated in his mind like a haunting melody. As they reached the edge of the Frost Mountains, the air turned frigid, and a cacophony of roars echoed from the depths of the caverns. Thor's senses heightened. He could feel the giant's presence drawing nearer. With each step, the ground shook beneath them, a testament to the power of their foe. Suddenly, out of the icy mist, Jotunheim emerged, towering above the landscape. Its skin was a rugged tapestry of stone and ice, and its eyes burned like molten fire, seething with a wrath that could cut through the deepest of winters. The wind howled as it approached, a living storm of fury and vengeance. Thor stepped forward, his heart pounding against his chest like the drum of war. "I am Thor, son of Odin. You who have tormented our realm, today you face the wrath of the gods." The giant roared, its voice a thunderous echo that sent vibrations through the very core of Asgard. "You think you can stand against me, Thunder God? I have laid low greater foes than you. Your hammer will not save you." With a swift motion, Thor hurled Mjolnir, the enchanted hammer, with all his might. It soared through the air like a bolt of lightning, striking the giant with a force that could shatter mountains. The impact echoed like a clap of thunder, sending snow cascading down from the peaks. But Jotunheim staggered only momentarily. It grew enraged, its eyes burning brighter as it swiped at the gods with immense hands that could crush boulders. Thor barely dodged, feeling the rush of wind as the giant's fist grazed past him. "You will pay for that." Jotunheim snarled, its voice a rumble of thunderclouds. With a swift motion, it grabbed a massive stone from the earth, hurling it at Thor with the force of a landslide. Thor summoned the storm within him, raising Mjolnir to meet the rock mid-flight. The collision sent shards of stone flying, creating a cascade of debris. "We shall see who pays the price today." Thor bellowed, charging forward, lightning dancing around him. With the speed of a tempest, he closed the distance, swinging Mjolnir with explosive power. The hammer struck true against the giant's shoulder, sending tremors through its massive frame. Jotunheim howled, pain mingling with rage as it retaliated with a crushing blow. Yet Thor stood firm, unyielding in the face of adversity. "You will not break me, giant." He launched into the air, navigating the chaos of the battlefield, determined to deliver the final blow. But the giant, fueled by fury, summoned the frost of its domain. Ice shards erupted from the ground, encircling Thor like a deadly cage. He grunted, using Mjolnir to shatter the ice that threatened to imprison him, but the giant's strength was formidable. "You are strong, thunder god, but even gods can fall." Jotunheim thundered, swinging its colossal fist. Thor braced himself, deflecting the blow with Mjolnir, but the impact sent him crashing into the icy ground, a shockwave radiating from the point of contact. As he struggled to rise, he glimpsed the sky darkening, thunder clouds swirling ominously above. Odin's voice echoed in his mind. "Honor lies in perseverance, my son." Fueled by that wisdom, Thor summoned every ounce of strength, every spark of lightning within him. Clutching Mjolnir tightly, he rose to his feet, igniting the air with conviction. "I will not yield," he shouted, unleashing a tempest that engulfed the battlefield. Lightning surged from the heavens, striking the giant with ferocious intensity. With the giant momentarily stunned, Thor seized the opportunity. He unleashed a flurry of strikes, each attack a symphony of thunder and fury. Each blow sent ripples through the air, echoes of destiny colliding with honor in a dance of war. But Jotunheim was relentless, absorbing the strikes with a monstrous resilience. As the battle raged, fatigue began to take its toll, and Thor felt the strain of his efforts. The giant, with its sinewy arms, countered with ruthless blows, each one heavier than the last. The ground shook as Jotunheim roared in defiance. "You think you can defeat me? I am the wrath of the mountains, the fury of the cold. Your time is ending, Thor." In a desperate bid, Thor summoned every last ounce of energy, raising Mjolnir above his head. The skies erupted as he called forth a storm of unimaginable power. "For my kin, for honor, I will not falter," he cried, bringing the hammer crashing down. But as Mjolnir met Jotunheim's massive form, a deafening crack echoed across the battlefield. The ground trembled, lightning flickered, and for a moment the world held its breath. The hammer shattered upon impact, fragments scattering like stars across the night sky. Time froze. Thor stood amidst the remnants of his power, disbelief etched across his face. The giant, surprised by the sudden turn of events, seized the opportunity, unleashing a deafening roar as it prepared to strike. In that heart-stopping moment, the fate of the gods hung in the balance. Would Thor rise again, or would he yield to the storm that loomed over Asgard? The answer lay shrouded in the mists of destiny, and the battle was far from over. End of Part 1. Part 2. The Shattered Hammer. The battlefield lay shrouded in chaos, echoes of the gods' battle resounding through the frost mountains. Thor stared at the remnants of Mjolnir, its pieces glittering like shards of a broken star, and a tempest raged within him. The realization of his vulnerability surged through him. He had lost his most potent weapon. Jotunheim, sensing victory, roared with triumph, its voice rumbling like distant thunder. "You see, Thunder God, your power is shattered just as your precious hammer. Now you will taste the cold steel of my wrath." It charged forward, the ground quaking beneath its massive feet, frost and ice swirling in its wake. But Thor, fueled by the fire of desperation, did not cower. His heart thudded like a war drum, each beat whispering the words of Odin, the lessons of honor and resilience. He clenched his fists, channeling the storm that surged within him, refusing to succumb to despair. "I may have lost my hammer, but I will not lose my spirit." He leapt aside as the giant swung its colossal fist, narrowly dodging the blow. The air was thick with frost, but within him a furnace of fury ignited. Drawing on the elemental forces of thunder and lightning, he surged forward, each step a defiance against fate. The gods of Asgard watched, their hearts heavy with dread. Freyja stepped to the forefront, her voice laced with determination. "We will not abandon Thor. Gather your courage, my brethren. He fights not just for himself, but for all of us." With a rallying cry, she raised her blade and the warriors of Asgard surged, their battle cries echoing through the mountains. Thor's gaze met Freyja's as she charged forth, wielding the fury of a goddess. Inspiration surged through him. He would not fight alone. Channeling the energy of his comrades, he drew upon their strength, transforming his fear into raw power. Rallying his fellow gods, Thor called out, "We are Asgardians. United, we stand invincible." With a renewed sense of purpose, he launched himself at Jotunheim, fists crackling with energy. He struck the giant's knee, sending shockwaves through its frame. The titan staggered but regained its balance, anger igniting its molten eyes. "You think you can hurt me with mere flesh and fury?" Jotunheim bellowed, the frost in the air retreating before its fierce breath. "I am the storm that has swallowed entire realms. Your bravery is foolishness." But Thor, undeterred, pressed on. He summoned the winds around him, weaving through the giant's strikes with the fluidity of a tempest. He ducked beneath a swing meant to decimate him, then retaliated with a strike to the giant's gut. The sound of impact reverberated like a thunderclap, causing the creature to grunt in pain. "Your fate is sealed, giant," Thor declared, adrenaline coursing through him. The gods rallied behind him, their weapons raised, forming a shield against the ancient wrath of Jotunheim. Suddenly, the air grew heavy as the giant summoned its power. Ice shards erupted from the ground, encasing the warriors in a frosty prison. Freyja's voice cut through the cacophony. "Together, my friends, break free." With a collective roar, the gods fought against the ice, wielding their weapons with ferocity. Thor, using sheer will, shattered the icy prison surrounding him, unleashing bolts of raw energy that surged forth like a furious lightning storm. As the ice fragments fell away, Thor spotted a glimmer within the wreckage of Mjolnir, a shard pulsing with residual power. It was not just a remnant, it was a piece of his destiny. "I will forge a new path," he shouted, lunging toward it. "Thor," Freyja called, her eyes wide with alarm. Jotunheim turned its attention to Thor, predator-like, sensing the danger he posed. The giant's massive hand swung toward him, but Thor, with the grace of a gale, dodged and seized the shard. With the shard in hand, a surge of energy coursed through him, igniting every fiber of his being. He focused on it, drawing the essence of Mjolnir itself. "I will not falter," he proclaimed, drawing upon the strength of every warrior, every god, and every memory of honor that resided within him. The shard glowed brilliantly, and with a mighty roar, Thor thrust it into the ground. Cracks spread like lightning veins across the earth, lightning arcing alongside them, weaving a tapestry of power. The ground trembled and the skies above darkened, swirling with thunderous clouds. "Feel the wrath of the thunder god," Thor proclaimed, calling forth a storm that howled with fury. With a gesture, he summoned bolts of lightning, directing them towards Jotunheim with an intensity that rivaled the very cosmos. The giant roared, its arrogance faltering in the face of Thor's resurgence. "You think you can tame the frost with your thunder? I will crush you." It lunged forward, frost spilling from its form, threatening to envelop Thor. But he was ready. With every ounce of divine strength, he commanded the storm. Bolts of lightning struck with precision, igniting the air, blinding Jotunheim with brilliance. As the giant reeled, Thor surged forward, fearlessly closing the distance. "Your end is at hand," he shouted, feeling the power of the storm coursing through him, intertwining with the essence of the shattered hammer. He launched himself into the air, swirling with the storm, and came crashing down on the giant's shoulder, the shard ablaze with energy. The world held its breath as Thor unleashed a devastating blow, the energy from the shard merging with the essence of Mjolnir. The impact resonated, sending a shockwave that rippled through the battlefield, igniting the skies with blinding light. Jotunheim staggered, fury transforming into despair, as the power of the gods descended upon it. "No, this cannot be." The giant thundered, staggering backward, its molten eyes widening in disbelief. "I am invincible." But Thor did not relent, the storm answering his call, plunging him deeper into battle. With every strike, the storm intensified, wrapping around him like a tempestuous shroud. "You are but a shadow of your former self," Thor roared, his voice echoing like thunderbolts. "You will not terrorize Asgard any longer." As the gods rallied, they felt the surge of Thor's newfound power, emboldened by the warrior's spirit. Together, they unleashed their might, each god striking alongside Thor, a united front against the colossal giant. In that sacred moment, the warriors of Asgard poured their hearts into the fight, their resolve unbreakable. Freyja, with unmatched grace, pierced the giant's side, while the mighty warriors struck with unyielding precision. Jotunheim, overwhelmed by the divine fury, finally buckled under the weight of their relentless assault, its roars becoming a symphony of anguish. "No, I will not fall. I will not be defeated," it cried, but the storm was unyielding. With one final, thunderous strike, Thor channeled the essence of both the shard and the gods gathered around him. The energy exploded forth, a cataclysm of light and power. The giant's form was engulfed, a storm of fury and divine wrath crashing upon it. As the dust settled, silence enveloped the battlefield. Thor stood amidst the remnants of his adversary, panting heavily, the weight of victory hanging in the air. They had triumphed against the odds, yet the cost had been great. The warriors gathered around Thor, their eyes filled with admiration and reverence. Freyja approached, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. "You fought bravely, Thor, but we must always remember the balance of power. The storms that rage must also be tamed." Thor nodded, his heart still pounding. "Today, we learned that even in brokenness, there is strength and unity. Mjolnir may have shattered, but our spirits remain unbroken." But beneath those words, a shadow flickered on the horizon, a reminder that greater challenges lay ahead. For the war between gods and giants was far from over, and destiny had yet more trials in store. And as he stood before his comrades, Thor felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him once more. "Together we will forge new legends," he vowed, "for in our unity we are invincible." The winds of Asgard howled in agreement, and the thunder of their destiny echoed throughout the realms. End of Part 2. Part 3. The Awakening of the Shadows. In the aftermath of the colossal battle, Asgard stood on the precipice of change. The frost of Jotunheim lay scattered across the battlefield, remnants of the giant's fury now silent, yet the winds whispered of uncertainty. Thor, surrounded by the warriors of Asgard, felt the weight of their victory, a fragile triumph forged in the fire of sacrifice. As the gods gathered their strength, Freyja stepped forward, her eyes shimmering with unspoken fears. "While we have vanquished this foe, a darkness stirs beyond the mountains. The giants will not forgive nor forget so easily. They will seek vengeance upon us." Thor's brow furrowed, his heart heavy with the burden of responsibility. "I will not let fear dictate our destiny," he replied, his voice strong yet tinged with concern. "We have shown them our strength today, but we must prepare for what is to come." With the shards of Mjolnir clutched in his fist, Thor felt an unfamiliar energy course through him. The remnants of his hammer pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing the storm that lay dormant within. "I will forge a new weapon, one that embodies the strength of our unity. We will be ready." As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue upon the battlefield, the gods began to gather what remained of Mjolnir. They worked tirelessly, each wielding their own powers to channel the essence of the thunder god's former weapon. Freyja spoke incantations of protection, while Loki, with his cunning nature, sought to imbue the new hammer with illusions to trick their enemies. But as they labored, a tremor shook the ground, and a low growl reverberated from the depths of the Frost Mountains. Shadows coiled and twisted like smoke, creeping toward them as if drawn by the scent of fear. "By the Norns, what is that?" Freyja gasped, her blade gleaming in the dim light as the shadows solidified into twisted forms. Giant trolls, remnants of Jotunheim's wrath, surged from the mountains, their eyes glowing with malice. Thor stepped forward, raising a battle-worn hand. "Stand your ground, warriors. They seek to take advantage of our moment of weakness." The trolls snarled and howled, wielding crude weapons fashioned from ice and stone, lumbering forward with relentless fury. Their leader, a hulking creature with jagged teeth and a crown of horns, bellowed, "You thought you had won, Thunder God. This is only the beginning. We will feast upon your bones." With a roar that echoed through the mountains, Thor charged forward, his heart igniting with the thrill of battle. He felt the shards of Mjolnir thrumming in his grasp, calling forth the energy of the storm that had once flowed through his hammer. Lightning crackled as he swung a fist, sending electric arcs dancing through the air, illuminating the battlefield. The warriors of Asgard rallied behind him, their battle cries merging into a single powerful roar that echoed through the frost mountains. The ground shook with fury as they surged toward the trolls, weapons raised high, united in their purpose. Freyja led the charge, her sword gleaming as she danced through the chaos, striking down one troll after another. Each blow was a symphony of grace and strength, her eyes fierce with determination. "For honor, for Asgard," she cried, embodying the spirit of a true warrior. Thor fought alongside her, unleashing the power of the thunderstorm within him. He swung his fist, crackling with energy as he collided with the first troll. The impact sent shockwaves through the creature's body, causing it to stumble back in disbelief. "You will not take Asgard from us," he roared, unleashing a bolt of lightning that arced through the air, striking the ground beside the trolls with a deafening crash. Yet the trolls were relentless. They regrouped, forming a wall of muscle and malice, pushing back against the gods of Asgard. The leader, a monstrous figure known as Grungr, snarled, "You will fall before us just as your precious hammer did. We are the wrath of the mountains." In that moment, the tide of battle threatened to turn. Loki, ever the strategist, darted to Thor's side, his voice urgent. "We must split their ranks. If we can take down their leader, the rest will falter." Thor nodded, his gaze fixed on Grungr. "Then we shall strike true and hard. Follow my lead." With that, he charged forward, unleashing a tempest of lightning that crashed through the ranks of trolls. The air hummed with energy as Freyja and Loki flanked him, each adding their own power to the assault. The three gods surged toward Grungr, their movements a choreographed dance of battle. With every clash of steel against stone, the energy of the storm surged around them, electrifying the atmosphere. Loki, using his illusions, created distractions that confused the trolls, allowing Thor and Freyja to press their advantage. Now, Thor shouted, leaping into the air, channeling the storm within him. He thrust his hands toward Grungr, a blinding bolt of lightning arcing toward the giant. The strike was true, hitting Grungr squarely in the chest and sending him sprawling backward. But even as the leader fell, the remaining trolls rallied, their fury igniting in the face of their leader's defeat. They howled in anguish, charging toward the gods with a wild ferocity that threatened to overwhelm them. "We must hold the line," Freyja shouted, her eyes blazing. She rallied the warriors around her, each god drawing strength from their fallen comrades. "Together, we are unstoppable." Thor felt the power of his comrades enveloping him, and he raised the shards of Mjolnir high above his head. "We are not mere warriors, we are gods, and today we will show them what that means." With a mighty roar, he hurled the shards toward the heavens, watching as they shattered into a radiant display of light. The storm answered his call, swirling around them, coalescing into a new form that surged forth. A new weapon, a new Mjolnir, forged from their unity and strength. The new hammer, shimmering with the power of the storm, materialized in Thor's hand, pulsating with vibrant energy. "Come, trolls, let us end this," he shouted, charging forward, the wind swirling around him in a tempest of fury. The trolls were unprepared for the resurgence of power that surged from Thor's new weapon. Each swing of the hammer sent shockwaves through the ground, driving back their ranks, scattering them like leaves caught in a gale. As Grungr struggled back to his feet, Thor closed the distance, rage and determination igniting his every move. "You will know the true meaning of defeat," he thundered, swinging down the hammer with the force of a lightning bolt. Grungr attempted to retaliate, raising a massive fist to strike Thor down, but the thunder god was faster. With a flash of brilliance, Mjolnir connected with the creature's arm, sending a jolt of energy that electrified the air. Grungr howled in pain, staggering back under the weight of Thor's newfound power. With each blow that landed, the troll's resolve began to waver. Freyja and Loki fought fiercely alongside Thor, their camaraderie strengthening their resolve. The battlefield became a tapestry of divine power and primal rage as the gods clashed against the trolls in a chaotic symphony of survival. "Stand strong, my kin," Freyja cried, rallying the warriors as they held their line. Their unity shone brightly, a beacon against the gathering darkness. Together they pressed onward, pushing through the throngs of trolls, their blades finding purchase. The tide of battle shifted as the trolls began to falter, their earlier confidence dissipating like fog in the morning sun. Seeing their leader straining against Thor's relentless assault, the remaining trolls hesitated, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. "Push forward," Thor commanded, his voice booming like thunder. He felt the storm coursing through him, lifting him higher, stronger. "This is our moment for Asgard." With one final, thunderous swing of the hammer, Thor unleashed a torrent of lightning that engulfed Grungr, illuminating the battlefield in a blinding flash. The giant roared in agony, and with a final, desperate effort, he fell to the ground, defeated. The remaining trolls, witnessing their leader's downfall, broke ranks, fleeing into the depths of the mountains. A triumphant roar erupted from the gods, echoing through the realm, drowning out the remnants of battle. Exhausted but victorious, Freyja approached Thor, her eyes radiant with pride. "You have forged a new legacy, Thunder God. Today, we have shown the giants that Asgard will not bow to fear." Thor, panting heavily, looked at the gathered gods, their faces shining with joy and determination. "This victory belongs to all of us," he declared, raising the new Mjolnir high. "United, we are unstoppable, and we will face whatever darkness dares to rise against us." But even as their celebration began, a dark shadow flickered across the horizon. An ominous feeling settled in Thor's chest, and he gazed beyond the frost mountains. He knew that this, Part 4, the gathering storm. As the echoes of triumph reverberated through the frost mountains, Thor's heart swelled with pride, but unease still lingered in the air. The gods of Asgard had triumphed over the trolls, yet the shadows had not receded. They were merely biding their time. "Look, my brethren," Freyja shouted, her voice piercing through the veil of celebration. She pointed toward the horizon, where dark clouds gathered ominously, swirling with unnatural fury. "The storm is not finished with us yet. More foes gather, drawn by the scent of our victory." Thor's brow furrowed, his earlier triumph dampened by the realization that their battle was far from over. "We must prepare," he commanded, his voice steady but taut with tension. "If they come, we will meet them head-on. Asgard's strength lies in our unity." The warriors, still aglow with the heat of battle, nodded in solemn agreement. They regrouped, forming a line of radiant resolve as the sky darkened further. Loki, with his cunning smile dimmed, stepped forward. "We should scout the area. Knowledge is the key to overcoming whatever darkness approaches." Thor clasped his brother's shoulder, appreciating the reminder. "Very well, Loki. Take a handful of warriors and discover the nature of this threat, but return swiftly. We will not be caught unawares again." With a swift nod, Loki gathered a group of brave souls and vanished into the shadows of the mountains, while Freyja and Thor surveyed their surroundings. The air was heavy with foreboding, the chill of impending conflict seeping deep into their bones. Hours passed and the winds howled like restless spirits. The warriors of Asgard stood ready, their weapons poised, hearts pounding in anticipation. Just as the tension became unbearable, Loki emerged, his face grave and serious. "They come," he breathed, urgency lacing his words. "An army of Jotun trolls led by a fearsome creature they call Ragnorak, a titan even larger than Grungr. They seek vengeance for their fallen brothers, and their rage is insatiable." Gasps filled the ranks of the Asgardians, dread pooling in their hearts. Freyja stepped forward, her voice steady yet fierce. "We will not let fear consume us. We have faced death itself and emerged victorious. Together, we can confront this new threat." Thor felt a surge of camaraderie among his warriors. "Listen to Freyja, my kin. We are gods born of thunder and fury. We will not cower before Ragnorak or his minions. Prepare yourselves for battle." The assembled warriors raised their weapons high, a tapestry of glinting steel glimmering against the darkening sky. The air crackled with electricity, the anticipation of battle igniting their spirits. They would stand firm against whatever fate had in store. The ground trembled as the Jotun army marched forth, a tide of monstrous figures moving with an unsettling grace. Ragnorak led them, a towering behemoth wreathed in shadows, his skin a tapestry of ice and stone, eyes blazing with a hatred that could chill the very fabric of Asgard. "Look at them, my brothers." Ragnorak's voice rumbled like distant thunder, sending shivers through the souls of the gods. "They think they can stand against the might of our fury. We will wipe them from existence." The warriors of Asgard stood resolute, hands gripping their weapons tightly, hearts pounding like war drums. "We shall see who is wiped from existence." Thor bellowed, channeling the storm within him. "Asgard will stand tall, as it always has." With a battle cry that echoed through the mountains, Thor led the charge, lightning crackling at his fingertips, while Freyja fought at his side, her blade a blur of beauty and destruction. They surged forth, a united front against the tide of the Jotun. The clash was monumental. Steel met stone, and the air exploded with the sounds of war, thunderous roars from the Jotun, the clash of weapons, and the crackle of lightning. Thor swung his hammer, a whirling tempest of thunderous might, striking down the trolls that dared to approach. "Feel the fury of the storm," he shouted as he unleashed a bolt of lightning that forked through the ranks of the Jotun, lighting them up in blinding flashes. The trolls staggered, their confidence faltering. But Ragnorak was unfazed. He pushed through his own ranks, his massive frame brushing aside the smaller trolls as he roared in defiance. "You dare challenge me, Thunder God? I will crush you beneath my heel." With a primal growl, he charged Thor, the ground shaking beneath his weight. Thor steeled himself, summoning every ounce of power. "Then come, I will send you back to the depths of the abyss." The moment their bodies collided, the air exploded with energy, a shockwave of thunder and frost. Thor staggered back but quickly regained his footing, summoning the storm that raged within him. Mjolnir, newly forged, hummed with energy, ready to unleash its might. He swung the hammer with unrestrained fury, aiming for Ragnorak's shoulder, but the Titan deflected the blow with a massive arm, ice shards exploding into the air. "You are strong, but strength alone will not save you." Ragnorak sneered, countering with a titanic swing of his arm. Thor barely dodged, the wind from the blow rushing past him. Freyja, ever the fierce warrior, joined the fray, flanking Ragnorak with a series of swift strikes. "Together, Thor, we can defeat this beast," she shouted, her sword gleaming with determination. With each clash, the battle escalated. The warriors of Asgard fought valiantly, striking down trolls, yet Ragnorak's relentless advance sent ripples of fear through their ranks. The Titans seemed unyielding, absorbing blows as if they were mere raindrops against a mountain. "Regroup," Thor shouted, rallying his warriors. "We must strike together. We are not mere champions, we are gods." The warriors formed a circle around Ragnorak, their resolve burning like a beacon in the dark. Freyja and Thor led the charge again, striking in synchrony, their blows ringing out like church bells across the battlefield. Yet Ragnorak retaliated, sweeping his arms in wide arcs that sent warriors flying. Thor watched in horror as a few brave souls fell victim to the Titan's fury. "No," he screamed, fury igniting in his chest. "We will not fall today." Summoning the storm once more, he began to channel every element of nature: the crackle of lightning, the roar of thunder, the crack of ice beneath the crushing weight of destiny. His heart surged with the energy of all his fallen comrades. "Feel the wrath of the heavens, Ragnarok," he bellowed, thrusting Mjolnir into the ground. The ground erupted in response, a shockwave of thunderous energy rippling outward, striking the Titan squarely in the chest. Ragnarok roared, agony etched across his monstrous face. He staggered, the force of the blow ripping through him. The Jotun army faltered, uncertainty creeping into their ranks. That moment was fleeting, for the Titan roared in defiance, gathering frost and ice to him as he prepared for one final stand. "You think this will end me?" he thundered, his voice a storm of rage. "I am Ragnarok, the harbinger of destruction." But Thor, breathing heavily, knew they had the momentum. "Freyja," he called, locking eyes with the goddess of war. "Together." With a determined nod, Freyja joined him, channeling her own power into the storm that enveloped them. "For honor, for Asgard," they shouted as one, the tempest of their combined strength surging forward. With a thunderous roar, they charged, each blow resonating with the power of the storm, each strike a defiance against the encroaching darkness. Ragnarok swung wildly, but they danced around him, relentless and unyielding. And then, with a final, cataclysmic blow, they struck together, Thor's hammer and Freyja's blade colliding against the Titan's chest. A blinding flash of light erupted, illuminating the battlefield as if the very heavens opened to witness their valor. The Titan howled in agony, the sound deafening as he staggered back, unable to withstand the combined fury of the gods. Before the astonished eyes of the warriors of Asgard, Ragnarok collapsed, breaking apart like ice under a blazing sun. The trolls, witnessing the fall of their leader, began to flee in terror, scattering like leaves before a storm. The battlefield fell eerily silent, save for the heavy breaths of the exhausted gods, who stood amidst the remnants of their foes. Victory coursed through Thor's veins, yet a somber realization dawned. They had triumphed, but at what cost? "We will honor those who fell today," he proclaimed, his voice breaking the silence, "for they fought bravely, and their sacrifice will not be forgotten." Freyja approached him, her expression a mixture of